All right. Unfortunately, NBA teams have solved basketball from 2 months ago. So basketball just got solved 2 months ago. Dang. So if this video is what I think it is, and it's like it's boring, this will be the first time that like a physical sport has solved the meta. Because I kind of want to view this video from like a perspective from like a video game esport perspective, because esports games and just video games in general get solved all the time. So I want to see it, like how much like translation like there's gonna be.
Halliburton, shot clock at 8. Tyrese, my goodness.
Okay, goes for the three.
This is crazy.
NBA teams are setting offensive records every year, but to me, NBA regular season has passed its peak. Remember
Really?
when it was only Steph Curry who was shooting from this range?
Dang.
If Steph ruined the game, because everybody shooting threes now. Everybody can't shoot like Steph.
Times have changed.
Okay, so essentially people are just shooting more and more threes.
It seems like people have figured out basketball.
Okay, that guy was like right there, but he took the shot from like way back there. But like behind, like when I used to play basketball, I thought like when I trained threes, like the little bit I did when I was like a little kid, I would just stand just behind the three line. And we would only do like a half court thing. And bro, when like you're shooting at this thing from like a little kid perspective, this is a huge like parabola to shoot. Like, dude, this is like massive. But like these guys have like every advantage. They have like the best shoes like all the time in the world to practice. They're on average just taller than your average like person. So this is interesting.
Think about it. The players are more athletic and physically gifted than ever. Their skill and execution is top notch.
Oh,
so many games
bro, let me
look
see that again.
physically gifted than ever. Their skill and
Oh, this man just got broken.
execution is top notch. Yet so many games look the same. They seem
And he shot the three.
like glorified all-star games or
Shot a
simple
three.
street
Oh,
ball
but
with
missed.
early threes, easy layups, and little effort defensively.
Shot the three.
How did the NBA get
And
to
missed.
this point? Is there a way back? Let's go over the main 5 factors of this development.
Go for the two. And a dunk. Okay.
What a pass by Trey. Holy smokes.
Yes, I'm from Europe, but this is not an attempt to say that the European game is better.
I mean, to my knowledge, like basketball is 5v5. And I was around, like I watched a little bit of basketball back in the day with like the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan era. I watched was it the Lakers? I forgot the city, but the Lakers with like Kobe and Shaq. That's about the time when I watched basketball. But I never thought about basketball as just like a game. I thought it was about the same thing as like wrestling as a little kid. So I never really paid attention and thought basketball was like a sport with like statistics, training, skill. I thought it was just entertainment on TV that these people were just good at. So for me to hear that the game of like a physical game just got meted the fuck out of, this is kind of hilarious to me. Because this type of thing happens all the time in video games. But for video games, if the developer, the creator of a video game feels that the meta of either like the champions or the guns or the weapons, abilities, or whatever, if they feel the game is getting too stale and samey, they can update the game and patch the game and create a new meta, or they can add guns or add abilities, add characters in. And that, can create like some ruckus again. That creates like hype around the game again. It's like, ooh, new stuff, ooh. But for physical sports, you can't really do that. There's no such thing as basketball 2 that people are playing. That's not a real thing. I do understand that like rule sets, like certain rules can be like added and like taken away from like the official like NBA rule book, and adding addendums to the rule book can change what goes on in a game. From that perspective, I mean, I can kind of get it, but for the most part, like the core gameplay loop of basketball is not, I don't really think there's going to be any changes.
Better. This is simply a discussion about if the NBA regular season was more interesting in 2010s when teams already were
Goes
taking
in.
threes but still had variety
Pass to
offensively.
again,
The
okay.
league also was a little less athletic. Look,
Uh-huh.
I love the NBA. It has the best players, the best storylines. But some of these regular season games this year, 309 points without an overtime? Before Indiana
Dang.
versus Atlanta, betting companies gave this matchup the highest over.
Whoa, wait, is this like for one team? Like the teams are regularly scoring over the hundreds, and this is just a normal thing. I mean, I do. So like in video games, like the longer a video game is out, the higher the more skill people will just get in the game, and people will just get better like over time. But like I kind of knew this like happened in sports, but I didn't really think it could happen to this effect, where teams were like, maybe at least like the top 5 teams are consistently scoring around the 120 point mark in a game. This is crazy. Okay, so getting the shots up, most points per game this season.
And under points total since 1995. Yet teams passed the 253 point mark in 40 minutes and then topped it by 57. The possessions barely lasted more than 8 seconds. This is the Hawks shot chart. See that white tower in the middle? That's how many layups or dunks they got. It's
Okay.
either that or free pointers from anywhere.
Wait, when was that? What year was that? Makes, misses. Okay, most. Okay. What was this? Was this year?
Or in the middle, that's how many layups or dunks they got. It's either that or free pointers from anywhere. Other games
Yeah.
have techno music played while the guys hoop.
On the switch, Durant's got Looney on him. A long 2 is on the way.
Even Steve Kerr was pissed. I guess people oohing and awing because it's 2 superstars going at each other is a thing of past. And the main problem to all of this.
Yeah, I don't really like that either. From like from a an audience perspective, that's like really cool to have like the music going, just to have like some extra, like, I don't know, audio satisfaction going on with like the squeaky squeaks of like the player's shoes. But from a competitor perspective, yeah, get that fucking music out of there. I'm not trying to dance while I got fucking Steph Curry hanging out at like the fucking like half throw or like half court ready to shoot a 3 from there. I'm not trying to like break down to blue dabba dee dabba die while I got Steph like just getting the ball and he about to lay that shit up. Get that out of there.
This might sound crazy, but teams have found a way to play the most efficient offense in the NBA. Now you may ask, how is that a bad thing? Well, surprise,
Going for the
surprise,
3.
everybody's trying
Goes
to
the
play
3.
the same way. But how did the NBA get to this point?
Going for the threes. It's, you know what it seems like? It's like the defenders aren't as aggressive in terms of covering the person that has the ball, is what it seems. I mean, I don't know. This is just from like a casual, like, I don't even watch basketball. I am less than a casual. Like, that's what it is. But it's like the further the player is out who has the ball, the further they are from the 3, the less coverage and freedom they have to like move around and do whatever they want with the ball. So why not just start practicing to shoot for threes from like out here? Because no one is going to go like super try. Like, look how much space this dude has from like right here. That seems to be like the meta, is shooting threes. Nobody really cares about like layups and dunks anymore.
Remember how they valued intelligent point guards who can
Yep,
shoot?
a
Or
layup.
big men who could post up very well? These groups have become extinct. If you can't shoot, you have slim chances of making it to the NBA. 30 years ago,
Yeah.
the game looked like this, and if you rewind those games now, it is just brutal to watch. While nowadays, it has become a normality to see all 10 guys on the court who can shoot. Non-shooting power
Dang.
forwards are a rarity, while centers can still get away with this by being super athletic rim protectors.
Uh-huh.
Had Kara Lawson.
Oh,
But
Oh,
players
gets that
like
down.
Miles Turner make defenses look silly. No one is ready to help in the paint. You can't
Three,
risk giving
in.
anyone more space on the three-point line. This is how
Go in,
shooting
pass
made
to
the
someone
spacing
that's in a good
perfect.
position,
The
3,
insane
in.
individual abilities made it impossible to defend. Players have worked on their bags since childhood and have every possible move and a counter to it ready. The league is also much taller and faster than it used to be. The athleticism levels have skyrocketed.
Okay, so people are just people in the NBA are getting taller. Okay, that's fair. Everybody's always on the lookout for the next tallest dude and more athletic. Yeah, I mean, am I just gonna ignore the elephant in the room and say and miss out on the opportunity to say that like steroids isn't a thing? Yeah, steroids is definitely a thing. And a lot of the and chemistry is getting better. It's getting easier to have like designer steroids in there to hide from whatever. I mean, I don't know the drug protocol for like the NBA or whatever. I don't know what it is, but I do know from being like a casual enjoyer of like bodybuilding and shit. It's like it's not too tough to take some designer steroids that can easily bypass some simple drug tests and shit. That's not too tough. So, I mean, that's also a factor. Like chemistry and science is just getting better as time goes on. Plus, you can stack on the fact that people are getting taller, faster, more athletic, and just the general skill of each player is going up and up over the course of time. People and like on top of that, with like the skill aspect, people are realizing real quick that hey, I should probably start working on my threes. And what do you think that's going to do? What kind of thing? This is my question. What do you think like the parents are going to do to like maybe they have like a son or a daughter, like NBA, WNBA, whatever. What do you think they're going to do like to have their like kid train more? Like yeah, you go through like the basics of like shooting from I mean, I don't know how to like practice basketball and shit, but like is most of your time going to be spent on like layups or like dunks, or I mean they're like a little kid or whatever, but like if you have like some kid that has potential to be good at basketball, then I would totally start training them to be like, hey, you got to start shooting from like further out. Yeah, it's harder, but in the end it's going to be worth it. Yeah.
There are more transition baskets than ever because if you miss a free, that's a long rebound and a fast break score. But if you drive and miss a layup, the guy that did so is already in behind on the play, and trust me, these athletes...
Yeah, because the dude that just did the drive layup and miss, he's behind everybody. So he has to like sprint the hardest, and the chances of him catching up are just like not as high for someone that shot a 3 and missed. The dude that shot the 3 and missed still has like a good court position.
Will convert it into another 3-point attempt in less than 5 seconds. The majority of them are at least 6'4", while wingspan length is becoming the #1 factor if you can be drafted at all.
Dang.
Just look at what all
The wingspan length, like that noise. Bro, my wingspan length is like average. Jesus.
all NBA franchises are searching in the draft. It's those 7-footers who have crazy wingspan but have guard skills. Nature freaks are at the top of everyone's priorities list, and then it's lengthy wings. Combining these 3 things, the spacing, the shooting, and the athleticism, and you have the perfect spacing for unstoppable offenses. This combo creates situations where the most talented players in the world don't have to worry about any stunts that might be coming their way while they play one-on-one. one. With their abilities, scoring is a super easy task. And if somebody helps, the closeout is so long and the ball just flies faster than a person can run. There is no chance the contester is impacting the 3-point shot much.
Oh,
Again,
yeah. Yeah, that dude just wandered. Here, let me look at that again. The dude wandered. Like, this dude was, like, just chilling out here. And the dude wandered, like, kind of in a little bit and gave him some space to shoot. And once the team realized that, he just fed him the ball and was just like, okay. Wait, let me see that again. Okay, so here he is. He's giving him a lot of reach.
Can run. There is no chance the
look at all that room
is impacting the 3-point shot much. Again, taken by a good 3-point shooter, since almost everybody is one nowadays. It's not like these guys need a lot of help to score, but the NBA rules are only enhancing it.
Wait, the NBA rules are only enhancing it. So I'd be curious to know, like, the actual rules that are, like, affecting this.
The non-existence of the 3-second rule at this point of offensive development is nuts.
Wait, what's the 3-second rule?
Look at this. Atlanta switch and Bogdanovic is with Toppin. He wants to help if Halliburton drives and stands in the middle, thinking Wesley Matthews has the passing lane to his guy covered. But to avoid the technical foul, he has to move out from the paint, leaving too much room for this beautiful bullet pass. Again, spacing, skill, and the rules. On the other side, it's Indiana switching. 6'4" Bruce Brown is left with a 6'8" Jalen Johnson. See the amount of space he has around. Indiana don't even look to double, but if they do, that's one pass leading to an open three immediately. Again, size,
this guy's got so much room.
It's those three things combined again. On top of that, the way fouls are called sometimes is just, what's the best word for it?
Oh, yeah, the fouls in every sports game are the most hilarious thing ever. And it's almost like, because a lot of times I see videos about, like, soccer being, like, the worst offenders and the most dramatic, like, a foul over dramatizers and shit. But, like, I've seen a lot of over dramatizations in all sports, dude. And when that shit happens, I have way less respect for that sport because shit like that is allowed.
Defenders are already put in the David versus Goliath position on every possession, yet the attackers get free throws for bumping into the defenders and falling down. The good thing is that this part at least can get fixed. However, it's not only the improvements of individual attributes that have made NBA offenses unstoppable. But before I delve into how teams have mastered countering any defensive tactic, please subscribe to our channel for a chance to win this Giannis jersey. We are giving it away to one lucky subscriber, so don't miss out. Everybody admits it. The regular season is too long. But despite the talks ongoing for quite some time, the NBA still hasn't reduced the number of games. While the amount is huge, the importance of one is relatively small, so players tend to relax on defense, giving up free baskets. Watch the Hawks pointing fingers on a switch here, giving up a head start to the ball handler.
Wait, what did he say? Go for the 2 or go for the 3?
There's nothing you can do after. Also, the NBA is getting younger each day. Teams are interested in upside rather than a ready product, so we see the majority of draft picks having just reached the minimum age limit for the NBA. Such a young age and little college experience means they're way more likely to defensive collapses, such as miscommunications on switching, relaxing off the ball. Coming from the strong side, despite teams' defensive rules are certainly against doing so.
Oh, dang. Wait, so what did NBA do? They just made like a minimum age requirement. What was the age of people, like some of these kids, like getting into the NBA? I thought you would have had to been at least like 18 to get in there. Could you have gotten in there like 16 or 17 as long as you got like the genetics and enough like previous experience and you could like show up when it, like, what?
That little flick, good again. And another timeout from Quinn.
All these things, shooting skill, athleticism, rules, effort, and age, have played their part into making the NBA regular season a less interesting product. But we are not done here yet.
I mean, it's a less interesting product, but it's probably the most from a competitor standpoint, it's probably the most fair and the most competitive. I mean, it's not fun to watch, I would imagine, as a spectator, because everybody is like just getting left out and wherever and allowed to shoot, like at least make 3 attempts. And a lot of the times they just make them. But I mean, from a competitor perspective, this has probably got to be like some of the best time because it's so like, I don't know, even, fair. There's like less bullshit to like worry about, less rules to like stop you from playing how you want. I mean, I don't know.
Teams are responsible too. It seems that coaches, players, and the league in general have understood how to maximize the pick and roll offense. Let's go over the main defensive coverages quickly. First of all, it's extremely hard nowadays to get away with passive or drop pick and roll defense. While many teams are forced to do so as they're giving up the mid-range shot, allowing the ball handler into the paint usually means a layup or triggering defensive rotations. And we already talked about how hard it is to not allow a three-pointer in today's NBA.
Yeah, so like the more people that are like, I guess, in the paint, because the increasing like wingspans, one person can easily just cover more area with everybody being like taller. So trying to like go like, I don't know, 1-on-2 at least to like go up for a layup is just more and more difficult. Because you have to compete with everybody's like height getting taller, everybody's wingspan getting taller, and so on and so forth. So like, hey, if you can just take like a 1v1, like out at like beyond the 3, and he's just like letting you do it, like you ain't gonna shoot that shit, and you just do because he don't know how much you've been practicing. He don't see the fucking hours and hours of you been practicing threes. I mean, it's like, okay, I'll take it. In. Run back, get on defense. Like, oh shit, I gotta respect everybody on the other team now.
Aggressive defenses such as hedging or doubling ask for ideal personnel to pull it off efficiently. Length and speed must be available at all 5 positions because if not, watch what happens here in Indiana-Atlanta game. Johnson is asked to guard both these guys that are around 7 or 8 meters apart.
Oh wow. So he's got like this little defensive triangle thing going on. And you got these two dudes like about to close in on him. So he's like in the center of this triangle right here. But he could pass it to this dude. He could pass it to this dude, and he's got a dude under the rim.
He makes a mistake by going out, yes, but hey, doubling isn't ideal when guys can shoot from anywhere. That's why the usage of switching has been surging for the last 10 years.
Switching.
But teams have counters to everything. Against it, teams barely set good screens because big guys are slipping at the last moments, often creating confusion. If there is no advantage, expect another slip or ghost screen.
Oh, that's actually crazy. So your wingspan gets taken away from you, or like what area around you could have covered when you have like 3 people like really close and nobody goes for a steal or whatever. Like, why not? Maybe I'm just like not up to date. That's why I'm a casual, like less than a casual.
As they're often called, where a player just runs nearby, leaving the defense a short moment to be on point.
Trey backs up, 3 ball, got it!
Dang.
All of this asks the defenses to be quick and automatic, and a lot of NBA teams just can't keep up. Even on those rare instances where Indiana and Atlanta did well defensively, we can go back to the previous point. Shooting is becoming superior to anything else.
Yeah.
Hill just keeps running, relocates to create himself a catch-and-shoot three-pointer that he has practiced probably a million times in his life and knocks it down. When
Dang.
teams get stuck in offense, they don't look for much else. Catch-and-shoot attempts are in general easier to practice, easier to knock down, and they are worth 3 points. That's why the NBA is seeing more of them than ever. So to sum everything up, NBA hasn't been in a better place talent, athleticism, and offensive execution-wise. On the other hand, the majority of teams are doing the same things because they have understood what works the best. To me, that's a little less interesting than basketball 10 years ago where...
Oh yeah, I mean basketball 10 years ago, that shit was flashy as shit, dude. It was an entertainment sport. Like this era, dude. That was crazy.
every team had its own flavor. And the worst part of all this, I'm not sure we are ever going back.
No,
what do you guys
probably
think?
not.
Do you love today's NBA, or is it going in the wrong direction? What would you change? Let's discuss it in the comment section down below. Don't
Okay.
forget to drop a like, and I'll see you in the next one.
So, is it going in the right direction? What would I change? I mean, you can't really change anything. Is it going in the right direction? I mean, it all honestly depends on like whoever the dude that owns NBA. It's essentially like up to him. Like, what's he gonna do? He realizes the sport is getting more competitive amongst the competitors, which is great, very motivating. But he realizes that the games are just boring. He's not getting enough like eyes watching the NBA games anymore. It's not as entertaining. And I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends on what you think is like the end game of a sport. I mean, to me, like all these sports is just entertainment. If the entertainment isn't entertaining, then what are we doing? But then again, you can't go out there and like flip-flop some rules and say, okay, just be a little more lax on the fouls. No blood, no foul. And all that shit. It's like, okay, or maybe you implement, you have to get, during any given game, you have to make at least like, I don't know, 30 dunk attempts or some shit to like have the rest of your shots be like mid-range or like threes or something. You can't really make any rule set like that. It wouldn't make sense for like the casual or hardcore audience or for people that watch like the NBA. So, I mean, as far as like the direction, I mean, it's going somewhere, but I mean, who's to say if it'll go anywhere else after that? I mean, I think this was a really great video, and I'm a fan now. Even though I don't really watch basketball, I think this perspective of we found the meta of a physical sport, and it's boring. Well, yeah, no shit. Like some of the most competitive things in the world are boring to watch. Like, look at chess. I mean, and even chess was like a little bit of a disadvantage for like going second or going like white or black or whatever. But like chess is like super competitive, and there's like a meta kind of to chess with like how far you can think ahead of something. I don't know. It's like this is the first time a physical sport has actually achieved like most competitive, and we found a meta and we're gonna run with it. And because I've seen like what happens in video games when people figure out the meta in a video game, that video game, like it's just down stonks once the meta is figured out. So I don't know what the NBA is going to do about it, and who knows. I mean, this is a really interesting video for sure, man. I thought this was cool. But yeah, that's pretty much what I think about it. Yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, later.